This week's review was going to be something different, but in light of events that happened on Monday the 9th of June 2014, I figured it best to change to something far more fitting. Rick Mayall. No matter who he was, who he played, you could not resist but laugh at anything he's done. I mean, he starred in a ton of things across his life. People from the 80s will recognise him as Lord Flashheart and Captain Flashheart from Blackadder. Other people recognise him as Rick the Anarchist, who is hated by everyone in The Young Ones. Some will recognise him for his duo work with Adrian Edmondson in things like Bottom and some of the comedic acts. Film fans, they will mainly recognise him from Drop Dead Fred, which frankly is only really ever good because of Rick's fantastic performance. So what I'm going to do in this tribute is I'm going to look back at some of his most comedic work, see what I think of him, and just try and use him as much as I can. So I'm going to look at The Young Ones, Blackadder, and Drop Dead Fred. It may have been short, but The Young Ones was nothing short of a comedic triumph. One of the BBC's best comedies without a shadow of a doubt. What The Young Ones is basically is that living in a house are four college mates who all attend Scumbag College, pardon the language. They consist of Mike, played by Christopher Ryan, who's the smooth leader of the group. Second favourite, Vivian, played by Adrian Edmondson, who's a punk Mohican fan, has his own hamster, and is just outright destructive happy. Neil, played by Nigel Planer, who's a hippie, depressed about everything, and is generally looked to want to do absolutely everything around the house. And finally, the least liked of the group, Anarchist Rick, played by Rick Mayall himself. The thing I love about The Young Ones is how Rick's relationship with Vivian works. It's just absolutely balmy. There's never a dull moment between these two. They could be arguing about anything, and there's even a point where it can go towards absolute destruction. I mean, there's one episode in the second series where Rick claims to have slept with someone. Turns out it's sort of a white lie. Vivian turns on him, calls him a, pardon language again, virgin, and a whole destructive battle ensues throughout the house, in which Vivian manages to somehow get a cannon and tries to shoot Vivian. No, not shoot Vivian. He probably shoot himself, tries to shoot Rick. They end up fighting and crashing a bed through the ceiling into the kitchen. And it just goes through all-out absolute destructive mayhem. It's just a sight to see. Rick and Vivian's relationship in the show it's so funny. It's the ones with Mike is okay, the one with Neil is okay, but Rick and Vivian is a sore power drive of the whole of the Young Ones series. I don't think it would be popular if it didn't involve them, but it's made even more popular because of those two. Now we move on to the Blackadder series. Shortly after The Young Ones finished, Rick Mayall took on two small roles in two of the four Blackadder series. Blackadder II, where he played Lord Flashheart, who agreed to be Blackadder's best man at his wedding to Kate/Bob, and ends up stealing Kate/Bob. And then, in Series 4, playing Captain Flashheart, in which he tries to encourage people to join the Royal Air Corps, and then leads a rescue mission to try and free Blackadder when he's captured over enemy lines. I particularly love the Blackadder Goes 4th episode with him, because it also features a performance from Adrian Edmondson as a German antagonist. There is never a dull moment between Adrian Edmondson and Rick Mayall when they perform on screen together. It's just so silly. I mean, particularly in the Blackadder episode, in which they don't spend that much screen time together, But the way that everything's portrayed is just hilarious. Just how they end up arguing and all that nonsense, how they're like mortal enemies. Like I say, they don't share much screen time together, but it's just so brilliant. And Mayall, and of course, you recognise Mayall from Blackadder for his lines, "Woof, woof!" And then for his nicknames including Slack Bladder and Hound of the Mound of the Baskervilles. And then proceeds, as a favour to Blackadder, to knock out Captain Darling, because Darling was the one who tried to discourage General Melcher from leading a rescue mission to get Blackadder back home. That's something even better. And finally, we come to the third thing featuring Rick Mayall that I've seen, and literally only not too long ago, Drop Dead Fred. Oh boy, this is a disaster of a film. I mean, the plot's okay. A woman has everything going bad in her life, moves back in with her mother, re-encounters her imaginary friend Drop Dead Fred, and then all bedlam ensues. Because whilst Fred tries to make things better, his antics and what he encourages Elizabeth to do ends up with dog poo in her mother's carpet in the living room, singing her best friend's boat, throwing food about, and just generally to the general public acting like a complete psychopath. Well, not quite psychopath, that's a bit too harsh. Some kind of nutcase. Like I say, the film is just, I don't know what to think of it. It's so stupid at times. I mean, I don't know what to think about it, but I will praise this. This film would have been an absolute, utter, even worse failure if it wasn't for Rick Mayall. His performance was absolutely hilarious. No matter what he does, he manages to make you laugh somehow. Whether he's looking at underneath women, whether he gets his head stuck in the fridge, whether he manages to get his private parts ran into by the stair banister, or just trying to encourage us to do something stupid, you cannot help but just smile at that. And that's like I say, Drop Dead Fred. It's not exactly that good a film, but watch it solely for Rick Mayall's performance. You will love it. It's just so mad and hysterical. So yeah, as I say, not much to really go on this week, in which I've been brief and everything, but what else can I do? Rick Mayall still is one of the best comedians you will ever meet. You can forget most comedians these days. Most of them are dire. Rick Mayall blows all of them out of the water. He is brilliant and absolutely everything. Even if it's something bad, he can still make it better by just being in it. That is how good he is. So all I can really say is several things. Firstly, I hope you're up there smiling, Rick, watching everyone trying to keep your memory intact. Secondly, I really recommend that you watch Blackadder and the Young Ones. You will laugh just throughout. Drop Dead Fred, less or so, but you can still definitely watch it just for Rick's performance. That makes the film so much better. And finally, help the World Cup cause. Download Mayall's song that he did, Noble England. Honestly, come on guys, let's get Noble England as the #1 World Cup song this year. Let's make Rick proud.